Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday morning. Thanks for joining me on Coffee Time. And I have to tell you, this is one of those days where I've already had some coffee and I'm on to like the second wave of coffee. The day where you struggle to get out of bed and you're thinking, okay, is this a day I have to shower and get dressed, or maybe just dry shampoo and another layer of makeup? Throw on some clothes. So I always say I either get dressed or presentable. And today, my friends, it's just presentable. It was a long, rough weekend and a little hard to start the new week, which we'll talk a little bit about in our What's Brewing segment. But I wanted to say hi to everybody. Oh my gosh, like as soon as we start, look at all these people. Hello, everybody. So we're going to talk a lot about, the What's Brewing section. We're going to talk about some things that we kind of did over the weekend. Which is why I'm a little slow this morning, and I don't mind telling you that because we're friends. But so one of the things I always like to talk about too is my mug of the day. So today I am feeling a bit like Eeyore. Last week I had my new Winnie the Pooh mug that we got from a Hallmark store was my mug of the day, and I'm so excited because that was like my new one. Candidly, I'm so afraid to wash it because his little ears stick up, and so I have to be careful how I wash it. But for this one, this is an old one that I had. We actually bought at Disney years ago. I'm sure it came right off of the Winnie the Pooh ride into the, where it dumps you off into the gift shop. And I think I probably bought one of everything that they had, including Eeyore, because I like all of the Pooh characters. Pooh's my favorite, but sometimes you're feeling a little Eeyore-ish, right? And that would be me this Monday morning. So I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys had a good weekend. Let me know what you did, the good stuff, the bad stuff. When my kids were little, it's hard to kind of talk to your kids. Well, it's not hard to talk to them, but maybe you're not cool enough that they really want to talk to you, and just to kind of have that conversation about how their day at school was. So we used to do best worst, what was the best thing that happened to you today? Okay, well, what was the worst thing that happened to you today? Because sometimes that would be the catalyst for conversation with them. And so you could kind of find out maybe some things that were bothering them that they didn't really know was bothering them, or maybe some things that made them smile that you had no idea was something that they were either interested in or that was going on. So that's kind of it. So what was your best worst? And I'll tell you my best worst as we get to our What's Brewing segment. So don't forget that we will answer questions kind of as we go. I am candidly, I'm old, like I'm 54. So all of this computer technology jazz is a little new for me. So I'm still trying to acclimate to looking here, but seeing all of your beautiful faces and little icons or whatever over here by your names and seeing your notes. But if you have a question, the one thing that will really help, because we can kind of search it specifically, is if you do the capital Q with a colon and then write your question, because then when I search through, we can see those questions, because I definitely want to answer them, because I know that's why the majority of you are here, not really caring probably to know what's going on in our little life here in Winter Garden, Florida. But if you have questions, that's really the easiest way for me to be able to find them and to reference them. Again, we'll do that kind of throughout, but most likely here at the end. So that being said, I am going to have another sip of my coffee, because I'm not kidding. This is like the day where the pot's just going to have to stay warm like all day. So take a sip of yours. Cheers, my friends. What is your mug that you are drinking out of today? And it's so funny because, it really has become fun. It's like, oh, what mug are we using today? So I have them like, I won't say lined up, because this one was how I'm feeling today. So this one is important. Okay, so we're going to talk about our What's Brewing segment. So we're going to kind of go through that. But don't forget, if you have questions, make sure you put the Q with the colon. But I want to reach out. Miss Arlene from Michigan, Anna Maria Mello, Susie Q. Furman, hello. Oh my goodness, look at all of these people. Thank you guys so much. Rob, you are always here and a big supporter. It's like, I don't know what we would do without you and your comments like all the time. So thank you guys. So let's go ahead and get an early jump over to What's Brewing. I am going to take another big old sip of this while we do this. Okay, so I was looking through real quick. So we have Australia, Brazil, Wales, of course, the US. This is amazing. And all right, so here you go, because I need one and you need one. Here is the big hug that I am sending you. this is probably my favorite thing is to all of you who are theoretically strangers. Our lives paths have kind of woven together, and they may crisscross, but it's really pretty incredibly awesome. All right, so what's brewing? So family weekend. So if I push this button, I may not be able to come back to it. So I'm going to look family weekend, new listing, Silverleaf. Okay, those are the three main topics for today. So I'm going to come back. So the family weekend. So we had talked last week. We did have an unexpected death in the family. My nephew, my older sister's firstborn, oldest child, passed away unexpectedly. And it was, as any passing of any family or friend it's always, you're thrown into that emotional turmoil. You have the logistical challenges. You have to make decisions that you're not emotionally or mentally capable of making at that time. And there was some geographical logistical challenges with where he was, where our family is in Virginia, and where other family members and friends were, in other states. So it was a culmination of trying to get all of that coordinated, and that did all happen over the weekend. We had a Friday viewing, and then Saturday was the memorial service. But it was we talk about that best worst. Well, obviously the worst is we don't even have to state it. It's the fact that he passed away, and that's why we were where we were. But the best was, being able to be with family and some healing that's taking place, because, no family is perfect, but there was so much positive that was happening amidst the negative and the sadness. So that was really cool. We had some amazing, conversations and, dinners and just sitting. Honestly, one of my favorite things was my mom has a home in Virginia, and she has this back porch that's screened in. And again, Florida, you call it lanai. Virginia, you call it porch, or a deck. But this was not a deck. This was a porch. So she has the porch, and it's all screened in. And, we were just all sitting there, and, we're all rocking. We're all like, I remember going to my granny's house in Suffolk, Virginia on Sundays after church. We would always go there for lunch. And it's like all my granny had was an entire living room full of rocking chairs. And like all my aunts and uncles were all just sitting there rocking. And I'm like the little kid that wants to go out and make mud pies underneath the magnolia tree out front. But everyone just sat leisurely and talked. And I felt that then when I was there, over the weekend, just kind of sitting there and rocking and realizing, how peaceful that is. I just sit there and rock and talk and laugh and joke and cry and remember and dream and all of that, kind of reconnecting with family members that you may not get to see. Because that's the hard part about having families, I think, is you have your children, to grow and to then have their own lives. And it's really hard to kind of let them go. And then sometimes you're lucky enough that when you let them go, they still stay close. So I have a couple of my children are here and they're close. And then, you have some of your children that, their life's journey and their story is going to take them elsewhere. So it was really nice to kind of be back together with everybody. So we had a really good, despite the reason we were there, we had a nice moment of reconnection for everybody. So that was our family weekend. We had some travel issues yesterday trying to come home. We were supposed to be home earlier than we were. It started, well, first of all, even getting there was a challenge. We had to fly to Richmond, Virginia instead of into Norfolk because there weren't enough flights. And you've seen the news about the flight issues and the pilots and this and that and the other. And so we had to experience some of that in trying to get our flights booked back home to Virginia, and we couldn't get into the closest airport, so we went to one that was 2 hours away. That was fine because I got to drive back through Virginia, and it's home, and it was amazing. But yesterday we were actually trying to fly back out of Norfolk, and our first flight was delayed, and then we missed our connection. I have to tell you, guys, if there's ever a sign for me to like go upstairs to the Pilates room and do some working out and get a little cardio in my life, let me tell you, 4 seconds. Count them with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 seconds is how the way that we missed our connecting flight. And that's because this thing is old. And the first flight, because it was delayed, you've done this before, right? The first flight was delayed, which meant it was going to be a tighter connection to our second flight, which was already only a 45-minute layover. But the second flight, which was the connecting flight, was also delayed. So the flight attendant had come over to us on our first flight before we landed and was looking at our flight. And he goes, look, I know it's going to be tight for you, but I think you can make it because that flight was delayed It's a different terminal, so you got to book it, but I think you can do it. So we were those people literally like running through the airport, like my bag sliding off my arm and my other one's like rolling down through the thing. And I'm trying to catch up with Eric, who is clearly in better shape than I am because he's way ahead of me. And I'm like, I'm coming. And running and running and running. And we finally get to the gate and Eric gets up there before I do. And he looks at me and he goes, and he said, and I like collapse on the desk. And I'm not kidding, by the way. This is not an exaggeration. I thought I was going to like pass out right there.
I would have left you.
No. He just said he would have left me.
Not true.
But I figured he was probably maybe 20 yards ahead of me. And I'm like, okay, well, if he gets there and they let him on, certainly they're going to let me on. So I can I'm going to have to like stop or I will like just fall out here in the middle of the airport. And that was the Atlanta airport. And so we go to the desk. And again, I literally, my head was out and I was trying to like breathe. I was like, breathe in, breathe out. And he asked the flight attendant or the I don't know, gate worker or whatever. So he said, so just tell me by how far did we miss the closing of the doors? And she goes, like 4 seconds. And we're like, oh my gosh. And so I guess I fault myself for missing the flight, but it literally, no, he says no. He says, no, I won't. At any rate, it was fine because that lovely person got us booked on another flight. But it was just all a bit of a fiasco. So we're not the only ones that have ever experienced that. In fact, there were some girls that were there. There were 2 girls that said that was their second cancellation of the day, and they were on standby for that flight. They didn't even get on that one. So, we the one thing is, yes, this is an inconvenience, but you know what? Thank you, and this is corny, but thank you to all of those people, the flight attendants, the pilots, the people that work the phone lines, the people that work the computers, that scan our boarding passes, that fuel the plane, that move the luggage, that put them on the conveyor belt. Like, it is such an example of just this fully encompassing thing. It's never about one person or one party. It's about the whole cumulative effect. And you know what? We got home. We got home safe. We got home sound. In fact, we landed and I didn't know we landed. We usually sit toward the back of the plane. And because we had to take whatever seats were available, I was way up front. And we were on the ground and I kept waiting to feel the big bump and it just never happened. So I don't know if it feels different when you land in the front of the plane. But anyway, all right. So enough about that. But that was part of why, because obviously yesterday was Father's Day. So we wanted to make sure we celebrated Eric as well. And it was just a lot going on. So by the time we landed yesterday, after an emotional weekend of lots and lots and lots of lows and quite a few highs, it was just a emotional overload. So the physical exhaustion you get from just having cried and like behind your eyes just still hurt and ache. So that's kind of where we are today. So again, cheers to you. I'm going to take another sip of my coffee and then we're going to go on to the next topic, which is, what is it? New listings. Okay. So new listings. So there's one listing that is already up and active. It actually went active right before I left town. And the sellers are amazing because they did exactly what you want dream sellers to do, which is they had the opportunity to go stay elsewhere here in Florida for the weekend, to kind of escape the home, to allow showings to happen, and which is very, very helpful, especially since I was also gone. We were able to make that weekend what realtors refer to it when we put it in the MLS as a go and show. And you normally do that for vacant homes. Doesn't mean vacant as in no one lives in it, but it just means that vacant meaning the sellers, that there's nobody that's going to be in the home during that time frame. Didn't have a lot of showings over the weekend, but that's okay. That is, my friends, a reflection of the market. It's a reflection of what we talk about when we talk about on our Sunday drives. We talk about the shift that's happening, the little modifications that are happening in the market, and the things that we can expect both as buyers and as sellers. So I'm not worried a bit about that home selling because what they have done to the home is amazing. And that's another thing I want to talk about too, because they are the perfect example about that, you don't always have to go with new construction. We have so much of it here. We talk about it all the time. In fact, we're going to talk about it after we finish talking about the new listings. But there are so many resale opportunities, whether that home is 5 years old or 10 years old or 15 years old or 20 years old or 25 years old or 30 years old. We have opportunities like that. And my son, the one that just purchased the home in Virginia, that home is, I think, 24 years old. And we got the inspection report back and it's got things that we, think about that we want to have addressed. Nothing that is like safety issues or huge huge concerns, but things that are definitely a concern enough that we want to address them. But this particular listing that I have, they have put everything like brand spanking new. In fact, I'm going to read out some of them because I have the list. This is the list. Yes, I have it. Okay, hold on. My desk is a mess. I'm so sorry. They professionally painted the interior and the exterior, including trim, including doors, including like, again, ceiling, everything. Brand new windows and doors. They have new HVAC, excuse me, new roof. This is all stuff that's been done within the past year or two. They remodeled the master bathroom, new quartz countertops in the kitchen, new carpeting that was upgraded with the pet protection, new hot water heater. They redesigned the landscaping. They redid the WDO, the wood destroying organism, the basically termite. So if you ever hear WDO, or WDI, wood destroying, like that's referencing essentially termites. All the lighting fixtures were replaced, new washer and dryer, and the air duct cleaning. So they did all of these things in this home, and the home is like everything that you would have a concern with has been replaced. And that gives a great peace of mind to somebody that's purchasing an older home. So I'm not worried about that home selling, whether we had, 1 or 2 showings over the weekend or whether we had 20 showings on the weekend. It's a reflection of the market, is the timing as to how many of those showings are going to happen. But that home is amazing. And by the way, it is in Claremont in a beautiful gated community. It is very similar to what I felt like when I was in Virginia, where it was an older community where the mature landscaping was everywhere. The trees just kind of canopied over. It was absolutely lovely, quiet, calm, like pristine. It just felt like a neighborhood. And there is a difference between a community and a neighborhood. Again, going back to my Virginia roots, it's a neighborhood. And that's what that felt like. It was a beautiful neighborhood. So if you are looking, perhaps it is a 1-story floor plan, 2,440 square feet. It is 4 bedrooms and 2 baths, I believe. And that home, again, so much of it is brand spanking new. We actually have that video tour that we posted, I think, on Thursday. That is, you can see the full video tour of that. So if you or friends or family are looking maybe for your own private vacation home here, maybe you want to move here full time, share that video, show that video, and then obviously call me. Okay, so, and we have another one that's coming on the market as well, which is in the Horizon West area, and it is going to be a beautiful Toll Brothers in Lakeshore. The Lakeshore community is one of their beautiful townhomes in there. And when I say townhome, I mean, we're talking like luxury townhome, like not just, tiny little townhome, like we're talking big luxury ones. Okay. So we're going to go to the next aspect. Eric, thank you so much. So Eric's just decided, because he knows that when I get off talking, like I'm just talking to you, like that's where my brain goes. And there's all these buttons I'm supposed to be pushing.
No, I didn't set you up a button. That's the problem.
Oh, okay. So it's your fault.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So he was pushing the buttons for me. So, all right. So the last thing is Silverleaf Reserve as far as our what's brewing. So Silverleaf is another village here in the, yes, sir. Well, I wasn't ready for that yet.
You're doing it.
He just pushed the button and I wasn't ready for that. Let me do this.
Okay, fine. Then do it.
Okay. I have to have another sip. This has been a rough morning. Thank you. Okay. So now how do I go off of this? You want me to just keep it on? Okay, never mind. I'll just keep it on. All right. So Silverleaf is one of the new villages here in the Horizon West area. We've talked about that. You have the Ovation Village, right? You have, we've talked a lot about West Haven at Ovation, and we've talked about, thank you. You're messing me up.
Just talk.
Anyway, okay. But Silverleaf is one of the new ones that we've been excited about. We have previewed it. We've talked about it. Meritage is in there right now, and that's what's so exciting. That's what we're going to talk about. Dreamfinders will be in there as well. That is where, if you do watch us more than just these coffee times that we do, we did Sunday drives, and we introduced you to the new schools, Hamlin Elementary and Hamlin Middle School. We've showed you those. We've talked about that area. We kind of gave you a preview of the land. We showed you where all the landscaping had been dropped off. So there's a whole section of all the new palm trees and the shrubs and all that stuff is kind of sitting there waiting to grow and make this community kind of, thrive. So over the weekend, well, I guess, yeah, it was this weekend. So if, a lot of these communities, you can sign up as the VIP or the interest list, right? So because they may not have enough information really to provide you. For instance, it just says coming soon, Meritage, Silverleaf, right? So you see the sign, you're like, okay, well, that's cool. So you look up on the website and there's not a lot of information. Sometimes they'll provide you the floor plans that they're going to offer. Sometimes they, don't have any information and they just say sign up because they're still trying to map it out as well. But I am so stinking excited about this community. You have no idea. First of all, love Meritage. I am so excited to have them back here with the new community. Yes, we do have one in the Ovation Village. We've got some clients under contract there. Yay. But this one offers more of the product line, I guess, the home series lines that they had in their phenomenal community of Watermark. So Watermark is a huge Meritage community. It's closed out. It's been closed out for a while, but it was huge. It had so many beautiful homes. I mean, just those things were selling like hotcakes, right and left and right and left and right and left, and multiple phases and crazy awesome amenities. And so to hear that Meritage was bringing back another community here offering some of those same floor plans with the front load garage as well as the bungalows was amazing. So Silverleaf is quite awesome. So we're going to take a look at the map. Thank you, honey. All right, so here's the map. So this just kind of shows you where it is. If you kind of look up and down the yellow. So the yellow is 429. That is one of the more major roadways. But what's nice is that that's kind of, I won't say it's hidden that people don't know about it. Well, of course people know about it, but it's not I-4. Like it's not even the turnpike. It's kind of a little cut through. So it's very nice because everything in Horizon West kind of travels up and down 429 and then the secondary road, which is Avalon Road. And so Avalon Road is, again, we travel up and down that all the time on our Sunday drives, but this will kind of show you where the community is. You can see Summer Lake, you see Lake Hancock, you see the Orange County National Golf Course, and then if you see the little red pen mark, you can see that Avalon Road, like you can't see me pointing to it, but duh. But if you look at where the little red teardrop looking pin mark is where Silverleaf is. And do you see the water that kind of is backing around it? So it's a beautiful location. We're very, very excited about that. So let's talk about some of the things that they have. So they have their bungalows. So we refer to this, again, builders call them different things, urban cottages, bungalows. I refer to them as what that specific builder refers to them as, and this builder Meritage refers to them as bungalows. When I try to describe them, I think it's a more descriptive way for someone who doesn't live here to see what our homes look like, to reference it as a rear entry garage style home, because that's what these are. So you can look, they have the Austin, the Hurston, the Faulkner, the Hughes, and the Ellison. So these 5 floor plans, you can look at the square footage kind of ranging from 1,678 square feet up to, 2,114. You've got, square footage wise. And then if you look at these base prices, look at those prices from 460, and let's just say 461 up to around 490. Is that your all in price? No, you're probably going to have a little bit more than that, but we're going to talk about something else that Meritage does, which also makes the process so much easier. So these are some beautiful floor plans. Now, some of these we do not have videos of, but some of them, like the Faulkner, we do, because sometimes they will repurpose these floor plans, repurpose them, but they offer them, I guess is a better way to say it. They offer them in other communities. And sometimes, if you're very familiar with the floor plans, you can see that that some floor plans very much resemble another. Like you might go, that looks a lot like the Whitman floor plan. And yeah, maybe it was the Whitman floor plan originally, and maybe they just tweaked it and adapted it and did some other things to it. So anyway, so these are some beautiful floor plans if you like the rear entry garage style home. Now, what does that mean for you as a homeowner? It means that you come in through the back of your garage is located in the back of the home, whether it's an attached or like a detached garage. Sometimes you have the attached where you just open the garage door and you walk into your kitchen or hallway. Excuse me. Or it could be a detached garage where you open up the door and you have like a little, kind of like a little courtyard area, a little backyard area or patio area or lanai area nestled between the rear of your home and the entrance of your garage with maybe a covered breezeway or something. So these 5 floor plans are what they're going to offer over there. And again, this pricing is what's on the website now. We might look at this in 3 days and that pricing is different. And the builder has every right to do that because that is exactly what they do. They will always tell you that's the price as of now. When you see it that day, that's good. All right, so let's move on then to the front load garage style floor plans. So they have 5 of these. They have from the Alcott, which is their smallest, base price around the 524 mark, little over almost 2,100 square feet. Excuse me. Almost 2,100 square feet, all the way up to the Hayden, which is their big bad boy. And that one is almost 4,000 square feet at 3,871 square feet. So these are the 5. Now, if you look at them, what do you see here? You see 1 single-story home, and then you see 4 of the 2-story homes, but they're all front-load garage. They all go on, I believe, 50-foot wide home sites. So what's really, really spectacular is that Alcott, however, does have the opportunity, if you like the way that the main footprint of that is, and let's say you really want or need all of your living space and bedroom space on the first floor, whether it's because that's what you prefer, or maybe you're older and just retirement, you don't really want to go up and down stairs, but you wouldn't mind having that some extra bonus space. That Alcott actually does have a structural option with a bonus room. It's a pretty pricey option at the moment. I think it's around $90,000 to have the big bonus room upstairs, but it's one of the few floor plans around here that gives you the opportunity for a 1-story to then add a bonus room. So that is a spectacular floor plan. The Ashbury is next. Then you go to the Barrett. Now the Barrett and the Thoreau, those are 2 of the former model home floor plans that they had in Watermark. So we have those videos. In fact, I have a video of the Alcott in another community. It may have even been inventory. At some point in time, I have toured and shown the Alcott. So if you want to look at that, because you're like, oh, that one looks enticing, let me know. If you search my YouTube channel, you'll be able to find the video tour of that floor plan, just as a walkthrough, so you kind of see how it flows. It's one thing to look at it on a piece of paper as a floor plan, and it's another than to be kind of guided through a video tour. And then the Ashbury is a newer one. I don't know that we have a video tour of that one. The Barrett and the Thoreau and the Hayden, we most definitely do. In fact, that Hayden is, again, it's the largest one, and I believe we did a video tour of an inventory home that they had at Sand Lake Sound. Did we get rid of the site map off of this?
No, you can just hit the map button.
The site map? Oh, yes. Okay, good. It's still there. Yay. All right. So this is the site map of the first part of, this is not the full community of Silverleaf with Meritage. This is just a section of it. Because remember, we've talked before that these things happened in phases and stages. So, and they did not release all of these home sites. So everything that you're looking right there is not like, oh, I want lot number 51. Okay, well, it's probably not released yet. But they did, and that's kind of, I guess I got ahead of myself. I get so excited, is that over the weekend, they had the virtual presentation, the introductory presentation of how they are going to roll out the opening of this new community. And they had priority registration starting, I believe it was, I don't know, Saturday, whatever day it was, at a specific time. Maybe it was Friday. It was Friday at noon. Friday at noon, you started your registration, and that registration creates a timestamp on that registration, and that is how they fairly determine who is going to get in on that first release. And I believe they released like 10 or something, like 5 bungalows and 5 front loads or something like that. Again, I don't work for the builder, so I don't intend to misspeak, but this is a general idea of how it worked, because I was on that virtual presentation.
But they should call you.
But, well, yes, you should always call me. And that is important. Now, Meritage is a great builder to work with. They do love and appreciate realtors. They are one of the best builders when it comes to that realtor appreciation, and also feeling like you as the buyer should have that representation. They want you to be guided through that process and to be advised through that process. However, let's still do our due diligence. And if you're interested in the community, call me, and then I will make sure I get you in contact with Tanner and Andrew, who are the 2 site agents over there, both of whom I can text on my phone right here. Oh, I showed you my phone. Can text, because they both work as a partnership over there, and I've worked with both of them many times. Amazing. So call me and we'll get you immediately in touch with them. But if you look at this, this is just a good representation. Do you see the blues or the periwinkle? I don't know what it looks like, excuse me, on your screen. But like the blue rectangles versus the green rectangles, and then the yellow ones. Well, it's very easy if you can see it well enough. The yellows are the models. There are no models there yet. There's no homes yet. There's not a home that has broken ground. So we're very early in the process. In fact, even if you are able to contract right now, those homes are not scheduled to be completed until next year this time. So not until next June. So there's really nothing there to see other than them still kind of moving things around and creating the roads and kind of getting that overall visual. So, goodness. So those 3 yellow ones will be the models. And if you look at it, you will see that they're going to have 1 bungalow model, because all of the blue, purple periwinkles represent their bungalows, which are on a more narrow home site because those are again, the rear entry garage style homes. And then all of the green ones represent their larger home sites, which are their 50-foot home sites, which are going to hold their front load garage, like we just talked about, the Alcott, the Ashbury, the Barrett, the Thoreau, and the Hayden. All of those are going to be on those 50-foot wide home sites. So they did not release everything. They have released a few, and I'm sure those people have already been notified that they are included in that first release and have that first opportunity to go in and lock in their prices. They will not be doing escalation clauses in their contracts. So when you contract, you can be assured that will be your final price point. Okay, can I go back to solo now?
Yeah.
Okay. So one thing I want to talk about there real quick, because I want to move on and go through some other stuff. But I want to talk quickly about, and again, please remember, I do not work for Meritage. I do not represent them. And if I say anything that is slightly askew, it is completely unintentional. But I've done a lot with Meritage, and I feel like I'm sort of on track with what I'm getting ready to tell you. So they, pre-COVID, actually, before all of this was happening, they had switched to a design concept that they referred to as collections. And they changed their design center, which was amazing, by the way. You talk about like a candy store for like adults. Oh my gosh, it was so fun. Like literally, it was just like shelves of everything. Like here's some backsplash, and here's some floors, and here's some cabinets. It was amazing. But they've readapted that. And I think in response to the consumer, which I also think is important because, it is important for the builders and for these companies to keep in mind that, yes, you're building homes and yes, you put the price tag on it, but you still want to make sure that your client is happy, that your buyer is happy with the process. So they went to these collections and they changed and did a reconcept of their design center and call it Studio M for Meritage. So I'm guessing, I don't know, that's kind of I figured makes sense, right? Anyway, so Studio M is amazing. And what they have done is they have created not just one or two collections where it's like, do you want choice A or do you want choice B? Do you want the light cabinets or the dark cabinets? They have really been thoughtful about their process to get with the professional designers, not just Joe Schmo off the street to eeny, meeny, miny, mo. They actually picked design options to create versatility, but a cohesiveness in their design. And when I say that, what I'm talking about is the skin of your home. It doesn't matter if you're going to paint an accent color wall blue, or if you're going to add a wood treatment to a wall, or if you really like a stone look and you want to do that over there, or if you want to build a fireplace. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your flooring, your cabinetry, your countertops, your backsplash, your tile, carpet, those elements which are the true aesthetic of your home, and everything else you do jumps off from that, right? And that's why it's so important. And that's exactly what they have done with their Studio M design collections. They have given you the versatility and still, this is probably not a word, the expandability, is that a word? Sure, it is now. It's in my Dictionarium of Wordology. Okay, so in Amy's Dictionarium of Wordology. There you go. But if you ever look, and you can look on their website, and you can look at those design collections, and they kind of give you there's a rustic feel that kind of gives you a little bit more of the rustic and the farmhouse look. There's more modern vibes. So if you like kind of more of the streamlined, industrial look, they kind of give you and by the way, it's not just one. They give you 3 different versions that give you a vibe of that warm and cozy. They give you another one that's a little bit more of the crisp and clean and the industrial modern vibe. And then they give you another one that's a little bit more transitional or traditional that again is just going to be, ever present. It's never really going to go out of style. And within each of those collections, there are options. And that's what I think is so brilliant. So you still have the ability to create and design your home the way you want, but they've given you the paperwork. It's kind of like back when you're in school and you have a writing prompt. They're going to tell you what the subject is and the topic is, and you can do that. And then you just fill in all the other blanks that you want that's going to make it feel like it's yours. And I think that's a great process. So I went on a little bit too much about that, but you can tell I'm really, really, really positive feelings about the way that they are rolling this out. the way they are helping you design your home. And they're taking a lot of that stress away, because that's actually why, and I guess I'll go back to that and then I'll move on, I promise. Is that part of the problem with everyone is when you buy a home and you contract on a home, that is not your final price. If you still have to go to the design center, you kind of go like price tag shock of, oh my gosh, like just to have a backsplash, it's going to be another like $3,000. Like what? And these are not numbers that the average person can just say, oh, sure, I've got that. So in response to that, I think that they were really ahead of themselves, ahead of other builders in finding a way to not just do a traditional package, but to do a collection where they can give you the jumping off point, and they can make sure that when you go, you have a much more realistic idea of what your final price point is. And in some cases, you know exactly what that price point is. Okay, so I'm going to stop talking about that. Yes. I'm going to go back to that Hayden, right? Because we want to do the real. We're going to do a quick coffee. Hold on, because I scattered. Okay, a quick clip of that Hayden that we talked about earlier. So this is just a quick clip of one that no longer is available, but it'll show you a little bit about what I'm talking about with the collections.
Let's take a look at this kitchen, because I love this. So one of the things that Meritage is doing is they're doing their design collections. It is a great way to streamline the design process. When you buy and you build a home, it can be really overwhelming. And so one of the things that they've done is they've done a lot of research, and they figured out what people are liking, what they're buying. And this is a great way for you to really see in a cohesive way what those collections will look like on the grand scale. So this is one of those, and it is absolutely beautiful. You have the white cabinets with the brushed nickel hardware. I love this backsplash. This backsplash is definitely an eye popper, but it is so calming with a little bit of energy, if that makes sense. I love it because it's smooth, it's symmetrical, it's really cool, but the colors are just really cool, calm, and relaxing.
Yay! Sorry, I was reading something. My apologies. So yeah, so that was the Hayden. Again, that was an inventory home. It's no longer available, but that's one of the beauties about having this this extensive library with my YouTube channel, and having all of these, even the older videos, so that you can go back and look and go, okay, well, that's part of the Hayden. That's part of what that kitchen looks like, and that might really feel like home to you. All right, so that was that. Now, one other thing, and then we're going to take some questions. And I want to, again, say hi to everybody, because I've been focused on this and not saying hi to you, so hi. But let's do a quick part of our coffee talk, which is about our TikTok. So if you want to find us, we're social media everywhere. So obviously YouTube's our big one. We've got Instagram, but we've also got TikTok, and this is our coffee talk.
I know we live here in Florida, but one of my favorite things of our home in Virginia was the wraparound porch. But this townhome does not disappoint. Yes, I did say townhome. A wraparound porch that goes all the way over and around and around and down. I can sit over there, I can sit over here, but wait for it. Or I can come out through the kitchen to a secondary private lanai, all connected to this one amazing Anna Maria townhome.
Yay. Okay. So that one we did that is with Madame. That's a different builder. We talked a lot about Meritage today, but that actual TikTok was from the Anna Maria, which, by the way, I know it's confusing because a lot of the builders have the same names for different floor plans. It's crazy. But that Anna Maria is amazing. I love that porch. So we have that full video tour as well. By the way, going back to that Hayden, if you do want to see that full video tour of that home, it's in the video link description. So it's in there. You can just click on it. Excuse me. Let's get to a couple of questions. So let's go to Miss Arlene. Is there any tiny home community in Florida? And if so, can I buy a tiny home and move there? And will you represent me? Of course. That's funny because I remember my mom liked that TV show. She's like, I just want a tiny home. So yeah, there is actually one community in Longwood. I'm reading my paper because we got the notes on that for you real quick. In most cases, those are sold a little bit more like mobile home communities. And so the representation is going to vary. There's a lot of those types of communities where you have to go through their on-site person for sales, but definitely if you're interested, call me and we can certainly figure that out together. So thank you, Miss Arlene, for that. All right, let's go to UWU from Texas. Hey, Texas. Howdy. I don't see a huge selection of townhomes or condos in Winter Garden, or especially Claremont. Is it mainly single family homes in Winter Garden and Claremont? No, actually, there's lots of places. Lots and lots of townhomes, lots of condos are a little bit different. Maybe not as many condos, but there's definitely a lot of townhomes. In fact, many communities here in just in Winter Garden. Now you talk about new construction, maybe there's not as many new ones. However, Waterley is getting ready to release the next section of townhomes not too terribly long. Keeping in mind that when you have communities that have multiple series of homes, Hawksmoor has townhomes, bungalows, and front loads. Watermark they don't have townhomes. They have the rear entry bungalows and the front load. But then you have KHOV at Summer Lake Groves. So there are lots of these in there. It's just they may not be recognized as much with townhome communities because it's not just a townhome community. But they do exist. In fact, the coffee talk that we just did on TikTok, I'm having a bad day today. I cannot speak. That one was actually from a townhome, which was so amazing, right? Because it had that crazy wraparound porch. That was pretty awesome. So yes, they do exist for sure. They just may not be, condos, maybe not as much, but townhomes definitely for sure. Thank you, Susie, for the thoughts and prayers. We appreciate that. Let's see. Todd says, we're planning to move to Orlando in about 5 years, looking at new construction, hoping the market has calmed down by then. How far in advance do you think we should start the process? That's a great idea. So 5 years is a bit long. That doesn't mean that you can't explore areas. I would say don't be specific with communities. Don't be specific with a floor plan. Don't be specific with a builder. Because in 5 years, that community that you're looking at now may be completely closed out. But you can decide if Groveland feels like it's the right spot for you, if it has that right feel for you. Maybe you like, more thriving metropolis type of an area. Maybe you like the rolling hills of Claremont. Maybe you like Winter Garden because you want to be close, right in the backyard of Disney. So what you can do now, I have water. What you can do now is explore the areas of Orlando and the outskirts of it to see what feels like it's going to be right. Because the reality is, unless you have an unlimited budget, we don't even know what your price point is going to allow for in 5 years. So I would say the best use of your time and energy is to stay excited. Yay. Stay in touch with me. Double yay. But to just think about the areas, and you can certainly watch videos and look at websites and go through all of that and kind of decide, well, what is it that we like what feels like it's the right home for us, what works for us. Do we want a 2-story? Do we need a 1-story? Do we want a big backyard? Do we not really care? Those are the types of things that you can start to make decisions on now, that over the next few years we can adapt as we get closer to the big day. And when the big day happens, call me. And I would say when you really want to get serious, especially if you're looking and you specifically want new construction, is to look a year in advance. Maybe 14 months ahead of time. Give me a call and then we can start talking about, okay, now we need to get ourselves prepped and ready. What's available now? What will be coming soon? What is going to start pre-sales? What does your financial situation look like? Are you pre-approved? Do you need to get pre-approved? Is it cash? Do you have to sell your home? All of the typical questions that we have, but we don't really need to answer those now because it's way too early. But not too long, my friend. I'll see you in 5 years or 4 years or less than 4 years. Okay, let's see. Another question. Ron, Cheryl, hey. Now that we're in rising interest rate environment, how are the new home builders dealing with contracting homes coming back on the market due to the client not qualifying at the higher rate? My friend. Okay, so I just got a text message, and I think we talked about this in our Sunday drive. I told you I had a client that this is the exact thing that has just happened to her. They pre-qualified or pre-approved for this home early in the process and are not able to lock in on the rate, and the pre-approval amount that they received when they started the process is no longer in play. The interest rate has it's created a problem for them. It's affected the budget and candidly the ability for them to follow through on that contract. So part of what I've added to my list for today is I do need to reach out to that builder and let them know that it looks like, unfortunately, they're going to have to cancel. But what are some of the things that the builders are doing? Well, some of them, and there are a couple of builders out there that are, when using their in-house lender, are allowing you to lock in your rate at substantial very early in the process, like a year. Like you can lock in your rate for a year. Not all the builders, but there's a couple out there that are doing that. Some of the builders are giving you 60 or 90-day locks. So depending on where you are in the build process, you might be able to lock in a little bit earlier. And sometimes you can buy down the rate. But the other thing that the builders are doing, and that's a really good question, is that the builders are in response to the interest rates. They are, most of them, not all, because all builders are different, right? They listen to their own people. But there's a lot of builders who have done a couple of things. They have increased a closing cost incentive for you. So all of these incentives are typically tied into you using their preferred builder, their in-house builder, or lender rather, using their in-house lender. But they've given you additional closing costs, or they're giving you flex cash, which means you can use it toward closing costs, or you can use it at the design center or off the lot premium, things like that. So they're responding in a way where they're going to give you more incentives up front at the beginning of the process, because it may take a bite out of you at the end. But they are definitely listening, and it's changing. And some of these builders who thought they were getting too big for their britches and they didn't need realtors anymore because they're like, hey, it's a seller's market. We don't need you. We don't care if the buyer has representation, and they were not playing nice. Now we're all of a sudden coming back. Hey, realtors, we really need you. We want you. So, come on back. Yeah, right. Okay. But they're responding. The point is they know they're responding, so you'll be taken care of. All right, let's go to another one. Susie Q, if you were purchase a builder's inventory or spec home, does it include the lot premium? Yes. If you're buying a home that is either completed or near completion, that's the coffee pot. It just turned off. Oh no. So if you were buying an inventory home from the builder, that is a all-inclusive price. So yes, ma'am, it will include the lot premium, all of the design options and the structurals, anything that's in that home, that comes as that price, and then you are done. All right, let me see. Rob, no new homes are not HOA. I don't know exactly what. No new. Oh no, I don't think so. Most every community now has an HOA, even if it's a larger community that feels a bit more rural. They're still having HOAs, but yeah, I've yet to find one. But if I see one, I will let you know for sure. And I think that is it. And I know that I have a phone call with a client here in just a few minutes, and then I need to, I think, probably reheat my coffee because I only got a few sips of it, even though it was my second cup. Reheat it, get on the phone with my clients, and start my day. And on a personal note, I want to thank you because I was kind of in a funk when I started. It was very, very hard to roll out of bed today. It was very hard to come over here and kind of go through the day with you, go through my weekend with you. But thank you, because this was therapeutic for me. I hope it was informative for you. And as we wrap everything up, I just want to remind you that we love you, right? That's really important. And you always think about that when something bad happens, when there's a death in the family or a friend. You always want to remind yourself to make sure that you say that to everyone. So if you don't hear it enough in your life from those who you would think be telling you, I'm telling you. Stay safe, stay well. Remember, we love you. We love you. So stay safe, stay well. We love you, and happy house hunting. We'll see you guys later. Bye.